Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Why, hello, everyone. Welcome to one, to a few, too many, to all of you. I am Katie Petrick, and I am joined by Mr. Jake Jacobs.
Hi, Katie.
Ooh, he's very excited today.
I am very excited today.
Just a reminder, if you would, please go to rumble.com/Freedom Project and follow our freedom-loving page, because, hey, you love freedom too. So why not follow our page at rumble.com/Freedom Project. Well, today we're going to start with a teen girl who was shocked to see, and shouldn't be shocking, but it shocked her, to see sexually graphic readings being taught in honors English classes all over America. Well, Jake, I guess the first thing to know is maybe it's because she's not actually originally from the United States, and maybe that's what shocks her most.
I'll tell you what, I cannot believe it gets worse and worse in this country. A North Carolina teen spoke out Tuesday at a school board meeting after she was allegedly forced to read a sexually explicit book in class about a relationship between two cousins. This young lady's name is Lorena Benson. She's an immigrant from the Dominican Republic, and she left school over the incident. She claimed at her Athens Drive Magnet High School English class actually required students to read a book with graphic and incestual sexual language in it. She's a 15-year-old sophomore, and she said the book's contents made her, not only her, but many other students too, very uncomfortable and deeply bothered due to its sexual nature. We have to listen to what she has to say.
I'm in the 10th grade and I'm 15 years old. For 11 of those years, I lived in the Dominican Republic. 3 months ago, my family and I moved to North Carolina and have me enrolled in the highly rated Athens Drive Magnet High School. My English honors class, my teacher assigned the class to read a story independently and then come together into groups and discuss the story and answer some questions. There was a part in this story that made me feel very uncomfortable, and I looked around and saw the same expression on other students' faces. We all had just read the following. It was not the summer you fell in love with your cousin Doozy, because that happened just a few summers before, when you both wiggled into the tiny space behind Grandma's garage, and he tried to fit what you both called his banana into what you both called your tomato, but neither of you was sure which was the right hole. This graphic, ancestral sexual language should not be taught in any class, much less an honors English class. In my Helpful Living honors class, I am being taught about brain functions and development. I was taught that the teenage brains, like mine, are not fully developed yet, and that we must be careful about what we engage during these years. Based on this logic, I am a teenager, my brain is not fully developed, and I should not have graphic, ancestral sexual content taught to me in my classes.
Bingo! That teenager is smarter than the teacher, smarter than anyone who approved that story being put into any English classroom or any classroom at all, for that matter. But this is what you get in not only English, but any American classroom. It could be in science. It could be in math. Yep. It could be in computer science. It could be in pretty much political science for sure, any history class. This is what American education has become. And this poor teenager who came from the Dominican Republic is in an honors English class in North Carolina.
Still relatively conservative.
Probably didn't expect to see that, but good on her for speaking out.
Now, I'm wondering if, and I don't know enough about this young lady's background, if this is her Catholic values, her Christian values coming out from the Dominican Republic, which is strongly Catholic, if those values were inculcated into her worldview, she comes to America and she experiences the radical wokeness in American education, and she's saying this is ridiculous, and she's bravely speaking out. I love this young lady for that.
Well, and this is just the ridiculous nature of our education system to begin with. First off, our children don't read full books anymore. We know that. They don't read novels. So when she said, we had to read this little story independently and then get into little Barney circles, as we call them, and share how we felt about it, and all the kids are like, why are we reading this? Because it is highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Why is it that we can't even give our kids, if we can't give them full novels to read with full context, we give them these short stories or these short little passages that are basically diary entries for someone, and they decided to publish it, and somehow it got published. It's called Tomorrow is Too Far, and it's by, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the author's name. Who decided that should be part of the curriculum? That's what I want to know.
You know, Katie, I know you know the answer because you who teach English literature and you believe in the the classics of years gone by, they're not taught like they used to be. And now what it is, a form of indoctrination and brainwashing, and you use these perverted short stories to, in essence, expose them to that highly, highly perverted sexualized worldview. And this goes back, in early progressive socialist, even Marxist history, where they wanted to wear down the Judeo-Christian values of American society through the curricula. I mean, this is Gramsci's vision. This is Herbert Marcuse's vision come to fruition in American curricula. And now we suffer the consequences.
And, of course, the only response a school district can give to this entire situation for after this teenage girl is the one to sound the alarm, stand up there bravely and have to read this to a group of adults who shouldn't have been forcing her to read this in the first place. A district spokesperson said that Benson's claims are being reviewed. Like, oh, thank you. And there will be nothing of it. I can almost guarantee this will be read in an English class next year.
And, and by the way, we blame the teachers for this, but that's once again this, as we know in America, the administration has become, the bureaucrats within administration across American high schools, American middle schools have become incredibly heavy. The emphasis, because that's where the D and the E and the I and all the political correctness goes, right through those administrators. I experienced that over and over again when I was in the public schools. If I dared mention anything in relationship to the Judeo-Christian worldview of the United States of America and our heritage, immediately I was down at the principal's office in trouble because they were taught that from above, coming all the way from the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., through the curricular director. What was our governor now?
Tony Evers. Superintendent.
Superintendent of school. It was the same thing in whether it was Washington or Madison, and in every state across this country, we're seeing this perversion happen from those administrators.
Well, for shame on you,
shame on
Dr. Jacobs. This is going down to the principal's office. Well, you might. Actually, you wouldn't have been called on this one as for our next story, what's coming out of Portland Public Schools. But teachers are being called down to the principal's office there because Portland, Oregon, of all places, is adopting a new rule that bars teachers from displaying their personal views on a political or personal issue in the classroom. That looks amazing
it does.
On paper.
So far, so good.
Let's dig in a little bit more. Sad. But let's get to the positive first. According to the Oregonian, gotta love that, the new guidance was quietly adopted under an administrative directive all the way back in August before school started. According to the rule, it says, content on classroom walls, bulletin boards, or otherwise displayed in the classroom must be related to the curriculum or district-sponsored pursuant to the district's academic freedom policy. Those spaces cannot be used for an employee's personal expression, whether that is related to a political or personal issue. Again, hi-ho Cheerio. I'm loving it.
Yep.
Okay, let's continue on because the hammer's going to drop. Portland Public Schools said that the new rule has been in the works for a year and acts as a reminder to all of our student-centered mission. It's all about the students, right?
Theoretically.
In Portland, Oregon.
Theoretically.
And also reminds our staff to use district spaces for educational purposes. According to the statement, personal expression by employees is not in furtherance of Portland Public Schools' academic purposes. Academic purposes, of course, will vary depending on the course content. Displays should be focused on students' needs and tethered to the curriculum, not on the personal views of the teacher.
Good.
Again, hey, Jake.
So great. There's no however in here.
No however.
Yeah.
Here's however. A spokesperson confirmed that the new guidance does not bar teachers from displaying pro-LGBTQ or pro-Black Lives Matters materials in the classroom.
True, Katie.
The rainbow flag and BLM poster are district-approved symbols of inclusion to often marginalized students. Posters advocating for specific positions on political positions are not student-centered in that they are not rooted in our educational mission or curriculum.
This is about as Orwellian as it gets. You got to be kidding me. Talk about a perversion of language. And
That's so far.
I'm sorry.
Are you sorry? I don't think you're sorry enough. So, politics is out of the classroom, except it's completely back in the classroom. Because this is still Portland, Oregon, and they're going to do what they want to do and what they view as being what's political and what's not. And Orwellian, Oregonian, it's all the same to me, I think.
Boy, yeah,
Jake.
I like that play. That's
what I did right there in my little brain.
Well, your little brain
It's
is
just
pretty
turning
sharp.
right now. My hamster's
But
running
stop
wild.
and think of this. The LGBT ideology is kosher. The Black Lives Matter Marxist material is kosher. I mean, it was Howard Zinn, the infamous Marxist professor whose books were very popularized in American schools, #1 seller for years and years and years. The guy said there's no such thing as neutrality in the classroom. We as teachers have an agenda, an explicit political agenda. And obviously, the Oregonian folk here, they are lying through their teeth about so-called neutrality.
Well, since you're on the note of kosher, all of this actually stems from the pro-Palestinian protests and activism. So this new guidance comes for months after teachers' unions clashed with the district leaders over whether teachers had the right to engage in pro-Palestinian activism in the classroom. So Oregon Educators for Palestine, that's a group, in association with the Portland Association of Teachers, PAT,
you
as
mean
they
the
call
teachers' union?
released a guide that was titled Know Your Rights, Teaching and Organizing for Palestine within Portland Public Schools. But it's not political. So that's why they had to actually come up with this whole policy. So you can be political. We're all good with LGBT and BLM and all that. But, oh, no, the Palestine thing crossed.
But what if you actually supported Israel as a nation and you believed in the premises
now,
of...
that's probably political. So you can't be, like, pro-Palestine, but you also can't be, like, pro-Israel. And I'm sure you can't put a cross in your room because that's political, even though they're allowing... the inclusive symbols of inclusion is what they're
all
calling.
others except for
Yeah, there's that. So we'll see. Now there were accusations made. Could you believe accusations were made? And it was from the teachers union. So Portland Public Schools responded to accusations about all this stuff happening in a statement saying it's our expectation that staff create these spaces by facilitating respectful, age-appropriate, and standards-based learning and contextualization of major world events such as the ongoing Israel-Hamas war, or before that, the war in Ukraine. The Portland Teachers Union, or Association of Teachers, sorry, PAT. It's remember Pat? This is
Pat from Saturday Night Live.
Yes, SNL Pat.
Yes.
Could this be any more representative of Oregon? Portland Association of Teachers, PAT, has filed a grievance with the district over the new rule. Shocker. The union actually alleges that the guidance conflicts with contractual language on academic freedom, which allows teachers to introduce controversial topics that are relevant to their courses. Which simply means they want a continued indoctrination of leftism, of wokeism in our classrooms. That's what that is. That's what us Wisconsinites, we say, oh, you betcha. That's exactly what's happening.
Yes.
All right, well, we've only scratched the surface on this episode of Educated. Stay with us, friends.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on pristine quality bedding, towels, slippers, signature pillows, and much more when you use the code EDUCATED. That's EDUCATED. Educated. Support this show and a great American company.
All right, well, we go from, all of this stuff out in Oregonian land there in Oregon all the way to the other coast, pretty much, in New Hampshire, where we have a parent getting booted
see what you
hold
did
on,
there.
it's coming up. From all school-related activities for handing out pink armbands because it was a soccer game and he got booted. Anyway, we have a parent from Bow High School in Bow, New Hampshire. He was at his daughter's soccer game. He decided to distribute pink armbands with 2 X's, which, to those of you who do not know biology, 2 X's actually represent what would be female chromosomes.
Oh, I thought that meant 20.
There you go.
There.
Well,
okay, sorry.
you are a history teacher.
Yep.
Very much so.
Don't know
So
much.
2 X's represent 2 female chromosomes. He and other parents did so because the other team had a biological male on the team. And now Anthony Foote was given the boot. Yes, pun intended. From being on school grounds. Take a look.
It honestly feels kind of like a nightmare to me because soccer is like a huge part of my life.
15-year-old Parker Terrell plays defense for the Pemmy Baker soccer team in Plymouth. She's been playing the game since she was 4.
I've used it to connect with people. It's what I spend most of my time doing, and I just love the sport.
On Thursday, the state Senate passed legislation that organizes school sports from middle school and older by sex at birth, banning transgender girls, just like Parker, from playing on girls' teams. Now, the bill is headed to Governor Sununu's desk.
Forcing girls to compete against biological males is both unfair and unsafe. And it forces biological girls uncomfortable with sharing the field or a locker room with a biological man to give up playing sports altogether.
Parker speaking out against the legislation at the State House. Those who support it arguing young athletes whose bodies have developed testosterone would be at an unfair advantage competing against girls.
It is common sense, it is about safety, and it's about fairness to all athletes.
I think they just don't understand it, and it's scary.
Senator Innes applauding the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics' decision to separate sports by birth sex while arguing in favor of the bill.
And I think we should follow the lead of the independent colleges and universities in their sports programming and do the same thing in New Hampshire.
But Parker says she wants to play for the team she loves with her friends.
I don't pose a threat to anyone on the field. I'm just trying to play a game for fun.
Okay, you don't pose a threat at all. Well, why don't you go not pose a threat on
With the boys.
team then?
Do you notice how she kept on saying she about the he? Yeah, they drank the Kool-Aid too.
This is where we're at. So you have Parker here who is, I'm not even arguing for or against a specific person. It's the principal. Because, yeah, Parker looks small enough, petite enough, if you will, that maybe he wouldn't pose a threat to any of the girls. But it's not Parker. It's the letting of boys on girls' teams.
It's letting XY up against XX. And if you open that can of worms, you cause some serious problems.
And that's the point that our parent here, Anthony Foote, was trying to make when he said, hey, this is wrong.
And the parent,
this shouldn't be happening.
And the parent was simply expressing their First Amendment rights, freedom of speech. There was no violence. It was simply, remember the Tinker versus Des Moines case of 1969 where a couple of kids, junior high school age, they came to class. I remember this well because it was during the Vietnam War. In our school, we talked about it. They wore an armband that had a peace symbol on it. And they got in trouble. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said students and teachers do not lose their First Amendment rights when they walk into the schoolhouse door. Those parents had every right to wear that because they weren't causing any disruption within the classroom.
Yeah, so I was just an XX at the time, so I don't remember that case. But thank you for informing and enlightening the rest of us who were not around during that time. But you are correct in what you say because these parents, all the ones who wore these armbands, just sat there with the armbands on. That's all it was. According to what Foote, the dad, he denies because the district actually served him papers saying, hey, you are given this no trespass order because somehow you're you're not allowed on school grounds, you're not allowed at the activities because of what you did by wearing those pink armbands. According to Superintendent of Schools, Marcy Kelly, who's the one who signed it, she said that wearing the pink armbands violates school policy against threatening, harassing, or intimidating any person. Kelly also claims that the armbands violated the policy that no person shall impede, delay, disrupt, or otherwise interfere with any school activity. The district had to obtain additional police presence to ensure the order. The district had to order you to remove the armbands, and as a result of your protest, this is all part of the language that was used in this letter, and other actions, play was temporarily stopped. Now, Foote, again, said that he denied any discernible protest other than wearing the pink armbands. That's it. You wore a pink armband.
He put his foot down on this. He spoke up, and
That's
I'm
right.
proud of him.
He says the district did not need to take any action, that he and some like-minded family members simply wore the armbands. And he even gave videos to the local news people showing what's going on. But no, we must have this. What's fascinating to me is he has the videos, and it shows, apparently, no disruptive actions such as shouting or chanting or marching or sign waving. Parents and fans are sitting in chairs or standing along the sidelines. Oh my gosh, so intimidating.
It's exactly the spirit of Tinker versus Des Moines. This does not have a legal, constitutional leg to stand on. We're going to be visiting this again, I guarantee it.
Betcha. What's fascinating, too, because remember, we're in New Hampshire here.
Yeah.
Bow, New Hampshire. According to Foote, he said, Bow's a very blue town, blue state. And the people who run things will defend any liberal issue. It's hard to speak out, but I would say there's a silent majority. There are firemen, there are police officers, there are teachers from other towns. They don't agree, but they have to think about their finances. They have to protect their families. They can't say anything. Interesting how that works.
Unbelievable.
Interesting how all of that works. Because the common sense Americans are just trying to get by and go about their business. But then who keeps getting in the way? Why are we needing to worry about our finances so much right now at this moment? Who's in charge?
Yeah, and these are parents simply wanting to protect their children.
all.
This is
That's
America.
all.
I mean, classic liberalism. The First Amendment is one of the most beautiful amendments ever penned by man. The freedom to express our ideas and thoughts, to assemble peaceably. They did everything in accordance to the law.
But no, it's not allowed. That's where we are, 2024. Okay, well, let's get to something more happy, more uplifting a little bit at least. It's Rank and File coming up next, so stick around because Jake and I have ranking to do.
In 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. Introducing Patriot Mobile, the wireless carrier that stands with you. We are committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream.
Get free activation now with promo code EDUCATED. Whoa, Nelly, it's once again time for Rank and File. And Jake has the magical envelope. Please reveal what is it we're ranking today.
What is it, Katie?
The wackiest fitness equipment. Oh, I have a feeling our producer, Michael, did this for us, Jake.
Uh-oh.
Us fitness folk over here, unlike Mike. So Jake and I, we're no strangers to the gym. We know.
We're going to pump you up.
There we go. There you go. Mike, our producer, thought it might be fun for us since, we like going to the gym, to rank 5 pieces of at-home fitness equipment that many say should never have apparently been invented. So, Jake, stretch it out. It may take you a while. I don't know what that is, but I guess that's what boomers do. All right, let's start with our first piece of equipment.
This is why I have such a great job, folks. Because I can do. No, what I'm trying to show people is, I'm about 200 pounds, you're about 250. I'm only kidding, of course. But the quality. Now, as we're doing this, if we be quiet for a second, do you hear any noise?
Zero.
Zero. So it even shows you it's more quality. So they're getting a quality piece of equipment that is, let me explain, total body.
Yeah, these infomercials
I hate
are
to admit
classics.
I used to be.
It was Tony Little.
Tony Little.
What a bad name if you want to be like a fitness buff
Yes.
dude. I'm gonna give it 4. I think something's probably
something
worse.
I'm gonna give it 3.
Well, better worse because that actually works. So
I'm gonna
go
give it
ahead.
3.
Give us another one.
Are you ready to lose weight by walking, talking, sitting, sleeping, or...
Who'd ever think I could lose weight while watching TV?
Do you believe we're losing weight just by talking on the phone?
I even lose weight during my everyday chores.
Introducing Slim Suit. Just put it on to take weight off. It's that easy.
Now, I got to tell you something. I had a buddy in high school who was overweight, and for wrestling, he actually put on plastic bags.
Wrestling,
right?
Yep.
Yeah, and he would. I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" And it was like before this came out. So
those things are so dangerous, though.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like. And the way they sales pitch it is the whole "I'm just sitting here." I feel like this is going to be my number one because there is
being
nothing
the worst,
you're doing.
You mean?
Being the absolute worst. Yeah, that's what we're going for. The one that really doesn't.
I'm going to go 2.
I'm going to say it's my number 1.
All right.
Oh, what's next?
Look at her go.
Now make sure that your knees are together and that your back is not touching the back of the chair. Now, just let the Hawaii chair do the work. You'll notice that as the Hawaii chair rotates to either the left or to the right, that your body will naturally adjust to rebalance itself.
The gimmicks, unbelievable stuff. I've fallen for some of these things way back
Of course
in the
you
day.
have.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
These ladies convinced you, didn't they? You would still be moving.
But I could do some wacky stuff to your skeleton.
I'm going to put it at my 3.
Yeah. What do I have
It
left?
might actually, you might still, in the core, get some work done. Go
Number
5.
1. Number 1.
Oh, that's your number 1? Well, this ranking system's going to be way off. All right, what do we have up next?
Great legs.
Thank you.
How do you get them?
I used to do aerobics till I dropped. Then I found Thigh Master. Every single time you squeeze Thigh Master, you strengthen and tone right where you need it. So it's easy to squeeze your way to shapely hips and thighs.
Okay.
That's.
Hey, that has to be my 5, which means it works the best out of all the ones we have. You ever sit down and try those? Hoofda.
Well, if I have a number 4, I'll take 4. But
okay.
Suzanne Summers, she's still alive, or she just
R.I.P.
recently passed
Suzanne.
away?
R.I.P.
Okay. All right.
R.I.P. All right. What do we have next?
This is not a workout. This is a revolution. This is shake weight for men. And it's going to kick your butt.
Whew, that's it.
In just 6 minutes. Guaranteed.
Okay, I'm good.
This is what producer Mike uses.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
hasn't worked on anything for him, let me tell you. Hasn't.
So this has to be my number 5. It's the only jump number I have left.
Is it? You don't even know what numbers you have left.
I'm all over
That's
the
my
place.
number 2. Apparently, it's, I think that actually works out for my list. That it is like the wackiest of one. You have to bleep out, really. It's inappropriate. But hey, this Uneducated, this is the type of stuff, the information that we give you. That used to be considered inappropriate, but nowadays it's right on par for what we talk about around here.
That's right.
All right. Well, hey, friends, that's how we rank and we file, if we can remember. Right, Jake?
Knock it off.
All right. Well, if you do enjoy our content, please consider subscribing to our audio podcast and weekly media e-blast, which contains all the top stories of the week. Simply go to stayeducated.org. For Jake and myself, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting this show. Until next time, stay educated, America.